actually heard from a neighbor because the neighbor had a restaurant next door, and I guess they heard it. Haven't had anything major. Haven't had like a major crime or anything. Haven't had anyone die, thankfully. Things have gotten broken here and there. One guy had the heater too close to the futon, burnt the futon. It could have potentially been very terrible. Now we don't. You can't move a heater next to the futon, and we don't have that kind of heater. Basically, you kind of have to troubleshoot and imagine what could people possibly do, and then there have been quite a few guests who didn't know how to use a Western style toilet. They stand on the toilet, and so we have signs that show you how to use a toilet. People who'd never been out of their country before, and so those were things I maybe I should have imagined, but didn't.
I often wondered, well, who were those signs for? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, you actually need them. Yeah. It's rare, but you do need them. One thing I really advise is maybe once you know who your guests are, really learn about them. In my case, a lot of our guests have been Chinese. I've never been to China. I've known Chinese Canadians, but they're Canadians. I've met Chinese people here and there, but it was tough at first because kind of my expectations and I guess theirs weren't really matching. It was difficult to get them to follow rules. I had signs in English and messaging in English. I realized that they're a bit like me with Japanese. It's kind of like, okay, this is not for me. I can't read it, so it's not my information. So once I got that down, got some translations done, had some messages for them in Chinese, I studied about China, and I studied just on my own Chinese culture, how they deal with their neighbors and all that stuff. And then I tried to get across my expectations for staying at my place, that this is my place. It's not a hotel. This is my place that I have a lot of pride in. And I want you to respect that too. And then once that happened, things were just so much smoother.
Oh, really?
Once they sort of knew the rules. Yeah. Okay. And I don't mean to pick on Chinese people. Chinese people are the bread and butter. Thank you for coming. I'm just saying that I, decided to really learn how to please them, how to deal with them, and then things got a lot better. So if your guests are going to be, I don't know, Americans, I know you know about America, of course you do, but whoever they're going to be, I would become an expert on those people if you aren't at the moment.
When I've stayed at Airbnb before, a lot of the hosts sometimes have a beer, a couple beers in the fridge, and some water, maybe some bread, maybe some coffee. So at least once you get in late at night or you wake up in the morning, you still have something you can nibble on before going to a supermarket, for example. So that's
really nice.
That seems to be the trend. And they may have a fruit bowl out on top of the table, maybe some local fruit, bananas or peaches or something like that. Not overly expensive or something that's rot very quickly. Those are very nice touches. Even a bottle of wine is not expensive, maybe from Yamaya. $700, 700 yen, bottle of wine or something. But those little touches seem to be very popular. Are there any touches that you have stamped your property with?
We offer coffee and tea, but I probably not every time. It sort of depends. I think from what you described, kind of your area in the Caribbean, and your potential profit margins, I would definitely do that. In our case, at times, I sort of feel we're offering like a really nice place to stay, so that's enough. But we have done that. But I think it's a really good idea. Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. During COVID, I feel, honestly speaking, we're being honest here, I feel poor during COVID. So I'm hoping when things get better, then maybe I can do that more. But yeah. But it's a great idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. Someone comes in and they can have something like that. At times I have. Yeah.
You have a guest book when they come and stay at your place and then they write a memo to other guests, or try the coffee shop down the street on the left, or do you have that in any of your properties?
I've got a website. I've got a blog that, and I've got the address on the fridge. Like, please check out my blog, and it's got recommendations. And then at Airbnb, I've also got a guest book. But actually, I don't have a physical guest book like that. But we have pamphlets there. I don't have anything that they can sign, but I've thought about that before, and I've talked about that before. It's a good idea. Yeah, I just haven't got around to that.
Yeah, a couple of the properties I stayed at have something like that. So it's kind of nice for the guests to see what other people have written.
Right, would they enjoy it, or yeah.
Most of the time, they leave positive comments.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like a mother traveling with the kids.
Right.
On their honeymoon.
Right.
And Kevin really went the whole 9 yards to make this special trip, our honeymoon, so special.
Sure. Yeah.
So it really, maybe if they were upset about the faucet leaking, but maybe if they read these comments from other guests, then it helps bring down the temperature.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, when things do go wrong, I try to go to the extra mile to fix it. I mean, if I could fix it right away, boom, I get someone in to fix it. Sometimes it's not possible. Fairly often it's not possible. A light broke. A guest broke the light. I think unfortunately, it was destined to be broken. I'm not blaming the guest. I didn't charge the guest. But the problem is we had guests checking in the next day, and they were staying for 2 weeks, which turned into a month. So it was over the dining table. So it was an important light. So we had an electrician go in, and he sort of set up a temporary light. And then we still have to get that fixed. And it's a special light that came from Canada. It's kind of a Victorian Tiffany light. So we don't want to get rid of it. We want to somehow save it if we can, save the style of it. So yeah, we're still working on that. I was going to offer the guests something, but then I thought, well, they booked a 1 month stay. It came out to 1 month, and they got 20% off. It's a discount as well. So I didn't offer anything extra. But when something like that happens and they haven't gotten discount already, I usually say, hey, I'm really sorry about this. And I've